All right, welcome to another video. In this one, I want to discuss how to get clients for email marketing using Upwork. Okay, even if you have zero case studies and little to no experience. Okay, so in this video, I want to share with you a client acquisition method that I actually resisted for many years, but I have increasingly learned how to appreciate it over time. Uh, and of course, this is Upwork by, you've been able to see that from the title of this video and just from this headline here. Now, this is the first video of the new year, and it's been a couple weeks since I recorded, so I'm probably going to be a little rusty. Regardless, let's jump into it. So, I'm not here to sell you on the idea of using Upwork, but if you want to have a consistent pipeline of warm clients, then don't sleep on this platform. Okay. I slept on it for years. Buddies of mine used to tell me, you got to get on this. They were making a killing just from Upwork as a client acquisition method. And I always said no because I always thought, they had the cheap clients, whatever. People are always trying to haggle on price. And that's why a lot of people say that the platform sucks. That there's low paying clients, that everyone is cheap, that the quality of clients are it's just very low. And that's probably all because they're approaching things the wrong way when they try to leverage Upwork. Because I can tell you with firsthand experience that that is further from the truth than anything else. Okay, like Upwork works. It's a fact. Now that we've established that, let's move on. I'm going to share with you how I got onto Upwork and acquired my first client there for a 3.9K retainer with no case studies and what I consider a very mediocre profile. If not, it's kind of a trash profile, as in my bio and whatnot. And I did all of this within a couple of weeks. Okay. So the fact that I was able to get onto Upwork and sign a client for 3,900 a month on an ongoing monthly basis with a mediocre profile and all of that in just a couple of weeks, I think there's something there that is worth learning. And that's what I want to share with you. So, of course, you have to have the skills that you're marketing yourself for on the platform. So, for example, if you're saying that you can produce great results with email marketing, you got to genuinely be able to produce great results. Okay. Even if you have no case studies and no experience, you have to understand the fundamentals and the operations so that you can execute that and generate great results. Otherwise, Upwork is going to just crash and burn for you because they have this review system. And if your first review is a bad review, for example, I have all 5-star reviews, and that's what you want to aim for right off the bat. If you have bad reviews, it's going to be much harder. You're going to make your life much harder when it's time to try and acquire more clients through the platform. So, like I said, of course, you have to have the skills that you're marketing yourself on the platform, but I can argue that you can actually get started with little to no experience in the field you're trying to break into via Upwork. Okay. In fact, this is something that I've talked about in my email list. I believe I wrote an email about it. By the way, if you're not a part of it, if you haven't heard of it, check the description below and sign up if you want. Um, but I've talked about this where I believe, or me personally, what I've done is every skill that I've ever learned, every skill that I have acquired up until this point in my career, I have gotten paid to learn. Okay, of course, I go on YouTube, I read some books, whatever. I do a little bit of studying. I get myself to a point where I can talk about it, I can understand it. Maybe I haven't executed on it, but at least I understand it. And every skill that I've ever made money with, I was paid to learn that. And what I mean by that is that when I started my Facebook ads agency, when I did that, I was getting paid to learn. I had signed a client and I was getting paid to learn essentially. And the very, very, very beginning that backfired on me. But the worst case scenario is that you refund the money and that's it. You got some experience. Now, it's the same with Upwork. I believe that you can sign a client with little to no experience and make a killing off Upwork. Seriously. So if you're a beginner, don't worry, okay? This will actually be a game changer for you because instead of reaching out to doing cold outreach or anything like that, you're conversing with people that know what they want and they want it ASAP. They're ready to pay money. Okay, so let's dive into it. Profile setup. This is the first step. Let me turn this off. Hate seeing a little AI tell me what's wrong with my writing. But no, profile setup. It's the first step. Okay, after you create your account and set up all the legal stuff, you're going to want to set up your profile. It does not matter what skill you're offering. Just write up a quick bio using the following format. Okay, hook your ideal client, PAS CTA. I'm going to explain what that is. So, hook your ideal client. Essentially, there is going to be a specific segment of people that you are going to serve. Okay, they're going to have a specific set of problems that you're solving. So, you want to hook your ideal client by pretty much understanding their problems and talking about their problems, okay, and how you can solve it. You can get creative with this, but you can also keep it very simple. So the structure that I like to use is PAS. It's a very simple copywriting structure: problem, agitation, solution. So if you hook your ideal client, you capture their attention, and then you leverage PAS to talk about their problem, agitate the problem, and then be the person that can solve that problem, they're going to want to work with you. They're going to be intrigued at least. And then that's when you have the CTA, the call to action, to be able to get them to message you, to send an invite, or for them to look at your proposal, respond, whatever. Okay? We're going to talk about that in a little bit. But essentially, that's how you want your bio to be set up. Now, the reason why I want you to just do it quickly and make it very simple is because it's not going to be what does the most work in terms of actually getting you the client. Okay. I would argue that because I've been on the other side hiring people on Upwork, and most of the time I don't even look at the bio. I pay attention mostly to what is being said in the application or the proposal, and that is what makes a difference. Okay. So don't stress over it. Keep it super simple and clear as to how you can solve your ideal client's pain point. Sprinkle some personality if you want. You don't have to, but it'll it'll work in your favor as long as you don't do anything insane or crazy. People want to know who they're working with and what it's like, what the person is like, and that is, a factor in the decision making. Not a huge factor, but it carries a little bit of weight nonetheless. So, as for your hourly rate, when you're setting up your bio, set it at a high rate. Okay, don't set it at $15, $20, whatever, because you have this limiting belief or you think this is what it's worth. Just set it at a high rate. Okay, what I did when I started on Upwork, I just put it at $65 an hour. I believe that the value that I possess, the value that I can give to a client is worth way more than $65 an hour. But I had that limiting belief. It's like, oh, if I go any higher, it might be harder. And, but I mean, right now I'm at $100 an hour. Okay. So what I would recommend is put a rate, an hourly rate that you're comfortable with, but ensure that it's higher. So like if you're comfortable with $20 an hour, make it 40, just double it. Okay, if you're comfortable with 30, double it, make it 60. And understand that Upwork does take some fees, so price it even higher to account for those fees. So like if you want to have a $60 an hour rate, set it a little bit higher just to account for the fees. So you're actually making that $60 an hour. Now, this will automatically set you apart. And if you're in the marketing game, then I'm sure you understand how important perceived value is. So I don't need to dive into that. Just ensure that you can genuinely serve the client and back up your pricing with producing great results. All right. So that's profile setup. Now it's proposals. This is what really matters. Okay. So just like any other client acquisition method, the goal is to start a conversation that can lead to a call. Let me repeat that. The goal is to start a conversation that can lead to a call. It does not matter what you're doing: cold emails, cold DMs, Upwork, whatever it is that you're doing. The whole point is to just have a conversation and then lead that to a call. All right. You're not trying to sell the service in the conversation. What you're trying to do is just learn a little bit, see if you can actually help, then hop on a call, build that relationship, and see where you can actually come in and provide value. And then from there, you can work on trying to close the deal. But on the call is where you do the actual quote unquote selling. Okay. So, really quick, to answer the question of quality versus quantity in terms of proposals, shoot for both. Okay. If you're not able to do that, if you have to choose one, then choose quality. When I got started on Upwork, I started with quality. I think I submitted 10 proposals, and out of those 10, two of them became clients. And that was all within just a few weeks. But I focused on quality. And I'm going to mention this in a little bit, but in each one, I provided a custom sample. And that takes a lot more time to actually produce and to submit one proposal. You might want to just do the cookie cutter templates and blast all these different proposals and just play the numbers game. But I can tell you right now, because I tried the numbers game for like a week. I tested it out, paid for a bunch of connects, and I had like this really cool template that was slightly personalized and I can switch some things. I did that. Terrible. Okay. I think I went in the span of a week, I probably did 100, maybe a little bit over 100 proposals, and no results, crickets. Okay. But then I do 5 proposals of just high quality, sometimes a custom sample, sometimes not, but a very personalized message that actually got people on the phone, okay, or on a Zoom call, whatever. So, what is a quality proposal? It's one that is personalized, genuine, and starts a conversation. Okay, it's just those 3 things. It's genuine, starts a conversation, and it's heavily personalized. Ultimately, there are just 3 things you want to do. You want to sound human, okay? You want to show that you can actually help, and you want to start the conversation. So, sounding human, what does that mean? It means act as if you were meeting someone in person. Okay, what do you do when you meet someone in person? You say hello, you greet them, you learn what their name is, or you greet them by their name, you shake their hand, you introduce yourself, you maybe compliment them, and you just get the ball rolling. You compliment them in that sense and get a conversation going. Now, with Upwork, because people are coming here with the mindset of, I need a specific service, you need to actually show, after you greet and introduce yourself, you need to show that you can actually help them. Okay, you need to show that you can solve their problem. And that's where the bio comes in handy. It doesn't have to be an extravagant bio, but if you can be clear on what problem you're solving, and then you're talking to someone who has that problem, and they go and see another aspect of your, I don't know, say virtual personality, they're going to be like, oh, they actually do understand what I'm going through, what I need. And you just ultimately need to show that you can help. And then you want to start a conversation. How do you start a conversation? Well, in real life, how do you start a conversation? You ask questions. You find common ground, and you just keep it going. So, just like when you're meeting someone for the first time in person, it's pretty much how you want to engage with the prospect on Upwork. Okay. After all, they're just another human on the other side. So, treat them like one. It's as simple as that. If you go in the mindset of serving, you'll be golden. Okay. As for the bid, there's going to be a section where you need to bid a certain amount of money for the proposal. Do not get caught up in trying to bid cheaper to try and get the job or the project. You want to outprice your competitors. Okay. Now, there is a nuance to that. Always on the sales call, agree on a fixed fee. But in the proposal, for the sake of bidding, when you submit the proposal, if it's set for hourly, so you're going to have options. It's going to be a fixed price or it's going to be hourly. And it's going to be dependent upon what the prospect has set in their application or whatever. If it's set for hourly, then just put what your hourly rate is, okay? No more, no less. Why? Because if you put it higher, it's going to seem like you're trying to, you know, scavenge as much money from them as possible. And sometimes you'll notice that, let's say they put a range of $75 to $150, and your hourly rate is $65. And even if you go for the minimum 75, it's going to look like, you know, that's not your actual rate. You're just trying to make more money. And people don't like that. So when it's your hourly rate, just set it as whatever you have it set as on your profile, and that'll be fine. But when you're on the sales call, always establish a fixed fee. And you can bill it hourly, but just establish a fixed fee. Okay. If it's a fixed price, then bid slightly higher or what you believe is fair for both parties. Okay, if they say my budget's $400, first of all, most of the time when they say what their budget is, that's not actually their budget. They're just going a little bit lower to account for that, margin of error where they may have to negotiate and settle on a higher price. So you can go higher, but do it in a way that's fair. Don't just try to do it to, again, make as much money as possible. Don't be money hungry. All right. Just do what's fair. Do what you believe you're worth and what's fair to the prospect, and you'll be golden. Everything will work out just fine. Now, if you have no experience or case studies, okay, you'll want to create a custom sample of the work they're asking for. So this is what I mentioned earlier, what I did when in terms of like quality proposals. Okay. You'll want to attach a custom proposal to or a custom sample to your proposal. Why? Because when you do a proposal and you've done the proposal the correct way, okay, you've greeted them, you personalize it, you found their name, maybe you do a little bit of research on them, give them a compliment, make a joke about where they're from, because you can see their location, where they're from, and all that. Just a personalized message. You've proven how you can help. Um, you're quick, succinct. You're not wasting their time. When you tack on a custom sample, okay, for them to review, what's going to happen? They're going to review the custom sample and they're going to get an idea of how you work, what the quality of your work is like. And the beautiful thing about this is if you go hard on this custom sample and you legitimately, blow them away with your custom sample, it's almost guaranteed that you're going to work with them. You're going to get the job. Why? Because people are lazy. Your competitors are lazy. They're not willing to spend 30 minutes to an hour to write a custom sample for one proposal, for one job. So when you see that there's 15, 20, 50 plus proposals on a particular job, how many of those do you think actually took the time, the 30 minutes to an hour, to craft an impeccable customized sample for their brand? Not a lot. Maybe one or two other people, if that. And so when you do that, you're truly setting yourself apart. And so when you have all your ducks in a row, okay, you have your pricing in a row, you have a high price, so it sets you apart automatically, hooks them, engages them, perceived values up, okay? But then your message is not robotic. It's not a templated, response to their job. But you've greeted them. It's personalized. You ask them a question to just get the conversation started instead of trying to sell them on your service and be like, oh, give me your money now because I can produce the best work. But you have good pricing that sets you apart, perceived value is up, and you back up that perceived value by having a quality, authentic, relationship building message. And then on top of that, you back up your perceived value with a high quality custom sample that, by the way, if you want, you can even say, hey, take this if you want. Take this for yourself, test it. It can be like that too. You're going to be light years ahead of your competitors, light years ahead of the other people submitting proposals, okay? And you're increasing the odds so much into your favor. It's it's just incredible when you do it that way, okay? Now, I do want to address the fact that it is going to take longer. I said 30 minutes to an hour. Depending on what service you're offering, let's talk in the aspect of email marketing, because that's what I talk about on this channel. with email marketing, if you're a beginner, a complete beginner, you don't have a lot of experience, this might take you a little bit of time. It might take you 30 minutes to an hour, maybe even 90 minutes. But that's going to show. That's going to show. Okay. And the client is going to notice that. And even if they don't work with you, you may build that relationship and retain them as a contact. And they could become a client in the future, or they can refer you to someone else, or, you know, maybe they'll look you up on Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, whatever, and they'll add you as a friend. And that's how you can network with people. And in the future, they can become clients. So do that. It is going to take a while. And the more you do it, the better you're going to get. So if it's like a custom sample, and I'll give you an example right now. You do email marketing, your custom sample you want to make it as custom to the problem that they're facing as much as possible. But if you wanted to if you wanted to create some sort of process or a system to kind of speed things up on your end, what you can do is say, okay, I'll write a custom sample for the first email of a welcome sequence. Okay, because everyone has a welcome sequence. No one's really going to steal your work and go on with it. But that's also something very easy to test. They can do an A/B test if they wanted to take it that far. Most of the time, they won't. They'll see your custom sample, be like, "Wow, this is amazing. How are you on the spot?" Boom, you got a client. But in some cases, that might happen where might want to test it, and it'll be a week or a 2 week sales cycle before they even become a client. But the more you do it, you'll be able to do that in 30 minutes, then 20 minutes. Then you'll know, okay, I got an idea of what really blows people away, what style, what angle. Now let me just see, what is it that they're selling? What is it that they stand for? What are their values? Let me plug those into this templated sample that I've created that is still custom and personalized. And let's just pump that into proposals. Now, you can sign a client with little to no experience and no case studies. And like I said, your odds are increased when you submit a custom sample because then the client has a much better idea of what your work is like. Okay? I just want to drive that home. If you're starting from scratch, you have no case studies, no experience, do the custom sample. Spend the extra time. Okay? Now, some important thoughts I want to leave you with. I've left it general for the most part versus giving you templates as there are a lot of nuances to this. I wanted to give you frameworks versus giving you scripts. Okay? Frameworks will serve you for the long term. Scripts will get outdated, people will catch on. Let's say my channel blows up and there's a million views on this and I gave you a script, there's going to be a lot of people using that script. Now, it's going to be different for each person because each person is operating under different circumstances. That's why I want to give you frameworks, guidelines on how to execute. And then you're going to be able to tweak that to your specific circumstance. However, the frameworks that I've shared with you are exactly the frameworks that I've been using the entire time that I've been using Upwork. And it's been working flawlessly. Okay? The exact framework that I used to acquire my first Upwork client for a 3,900 USD retainer in just a couple of weeks. I also want to point out that I have a program that dives deeper into client acquisition with Upwork, but that opportunity is exclusive to people who are on my email list at the time of recording this. I may change that, I may not. Right now, I'm leaning towards not leaving those opportunities exclusive to the people that are signed up on my email list. So if you want to get a bit more intimate with me, then check the link below in the description and sign up for my daily emails. Okay? That's that. I hope you've enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one.